Greetings heroes, I'm the Chivalrous Mook and this is the first episode of Pointless Top 10 in Guild Wars 2. Follow the clues and see if you can figure out the top pick in advance. Why are we scaling this ancient dwarven ruin? Because inside Krender's brain is treasure. 10. Number 10 is the Jungle Waterfall found west of Bay Haven in Caledon Forest. It's a quiet, peaceful waterfall gurgling through these beautiful purple pitcher plants. Caledon Forest is the Sulvari starter zone, so new players can get here quite early, and as a bonus, this waterfall hides a secret Azurian lava lab where you can do a jumping puzzle. Pretty, calming, and hiding secrets. Though not nearly rapid enough to get first place, this waterfall lands on number 10. 9. Number 9 is the most metal of the lava falls in Ember Ridge. With the jagged skull-like horns and claw-like protrusions at the base, this waterfall seems even more sinister than the other skulls spitting lava around. I was curious about what geologists would call lava falls and looked around. Though they don't seem to have any specific word for them, I did stumble across lava flows called different things depending on their viscosity. If they are very evenly flowy, like the ones here, it seems to be called pahoho lava, whereas more thickly flowing lava with rocks in it, or I guess they're all made out of rocks, but with solid rocks in it sticking out are called AA flows. Nice. Also, pahoho is a great word to say. Pahoho. Anyways, though way too tall to get first place, this lava fall lands on number 9. 8. Number 8 is an Orrian Waterfall in Melkor's Sleep. I really like the circles of Orrian architecture, and with the water spouting out of them like huge sewer pipe, this really makes me interested in how Orr must have looked before it sank beneath the waves. The classic Atlantis story is always exciting, and these monuments must have been absolutely huge buildings to make any kind of sense. Though when you fly into the holes, there's just a stone wall behind them. Can't expect too much of the original zones, I guess. This is too corrupt to get first place, but lands on number 8. 7. Number 7 is also very man-made. The huge waterfall in New Kaineng falling down over and partially hiding the JTech lab where the zone's meta event boss spawns. This one is just beautiful. In a city this modern looking and cluttered, to have this open space where one can take a breath of fresh air and just enjoy the sound of the water in the middle is just great. And it flows out from this nice garden area at the top, which seems like a perfect picnic place. There's too much civilization around for this to land the top spot, landing it on number 7. 6. Number 6 is the Hidden Oroborous waterfall in Harathi Hinterlands. While it's a little eerie, there's this quiet beauty about this underground waterfall. The air is a bit misty, there are mushrooms, grubs, and oozes everywhere, and going here will give you a mastery point. Also, there are like 2 parts to this, as the waterfall itself disappears underground here and then kinda reappears in another room. So it has like multiple locations, which make this cavern system feel more connected. So while the air here isn't as fresh as the first place, this still ends up as number 6. 5. Number 5 is probably the most naturally beautiful on this list. In Kessex Hills, this multi-tiered waterfall can be found with trees and roots growing along the ledges. Even the game itself acknowledges the beauty with a nice vista. Though it is neither the beauty nor the extensive cave system that lands this one. Though, I guess the cave system is kind of a part of it. Well, it's because of these 2 researchers sitting outside looking like they're having a picnic, while they're actually observing the local wildlife. Speaking to Gardolf, he says, "This area is so interesting. Once the flora and fauna here were really diverse, but it changed quickly over the past few months." And when you ask what he means, he says, "The cave below us, for example. It was once homes to grubs, bats, drakes, and spiders, but now harbors oozes and cave trolls exclusively. None of the other species can compete." And to the question of whether this is natural, he responds, "No, it is not. Cave trolls usually are very solitary creatures, but in that cave they are living together as a group. It's very strange. I hope to find the cause." So we get some lore for this cave. The ecosystem has changed, pushing the drakes out into the lake, while the cave trolls are beginning to work together in groups. I wonder what his fellow scholar has to offer. "My bodyguard and I are here to study the species changes. Recently, there's been a torrent of invasive species to the area that are completely destroying the ecosystem." While Galdolf sees himself as a scholar, or at least thinks like one, it seems like Badron sees him as a bodyguard. When prodded, she continues, "Crate weren't the only thing driven up from the south. We're seeing all kinds of foreign species in the area. Many of them are more aggressive as well, owing to the change in habitat. I love that biologists having a research trip and filling in the world of Tyria to be more changeable and like deep. Anyways, I find it super cool, and that's why this waterfall, while being super close to the waterfall in first place, is number 5. 4. This meltwater waterfall in Frostgorge Sound is one of my favorites in the game. It seems to somehow be warm enough to kinda melt the snow around the little river it forms, which is weird if the water only comes from the waterfall itself. I mean, there's a totem of Jormag inside the cave behind this waterfall, which might make the water warmer, but since Jormag is the elder dragon of ice, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And anyway, I love that there are icicles hanging down like a curtain and actively melting to make this little hidden gem of a waterfall. And while the climate here is significantly colder than the waterfall at first place, this one is number 4. 3. Number 3 are these twin waterfalls in Auric Basins, which has this golden filter over everything with gold flakes or something floating in the air. It's just serene. The water spawning here even makes these purified magma springs, which is pretty cool. It might be because of the exalted beacon on the hill behind the waterfall, which overlooks it all, or maybe it comes from further in the mountain. Either way, I love the slowly flowing water ending in a big still pool, and the jungle ferns are so pretty. This is just a great place to hang out. If you don't get shot by jungle dinosaurs, of course. Or the Mordrim. This is way more lush than the waterfall in the first spot, though you might be able to find the treasure mushrooms that spawn here sometimes with a rare drop of 2000 gold because it's a skin for hiding boots. I would make a joke about people on the internet and feet, but who wouldn't love going barefoot in these waters? That's what makes this waterfall number 3. 2. While this ended up being the only waterfall on the list that falls into nothing, there are quite a few of them throughout Tyria. This one is in the Fractals of the Mists hub, and of the 3 here, I went with the weird Asuran engineering waterfall that falls in a perfect circle. It's unclear why they would build this, or if it was just here all the time, though the Mists have a tendency to copy parts of the real world, so this insinuates that their waterfall like this either exists or once existed somewhere in Tyria. I haven't found it yet, but this waterfall has an added bonus. When you jump into it, there's actually a portal in the middle, allowing you to fall through it and be teleported up above the waterfall for an endless loop of falling fun. Probably a nod to the Portal series, where making 2 portals to fall endlessly through was a main staple. While the existence of this waterfall raises so many questions, and it doesn't flow naturally enough to take first place, it's solidly in number 2. 1. At the top of the list are the Halacon Cataracts in Kessex Hills. I love rafting, and while these rapids seem way too stony to make a good place for rafting, there's almost the same feeling when hopping on a skimmer and trying to make it all the way through these, then over the larger waterfall at the end. Also, I wondered why these were called cataracts, as that's the name of an eye condition that can make you go blind, so I looked it up, and apparently the word literally means waterfall. It says, a cataract waterfall occurs when a large amount of fast-moving water falls over a cliff. This type is categorized based on sheer size and power. So these can be considered the most waterfalls of waterfalls. At least I find them majestic and dangerous, but in an approachable way. Like, yeah, I could ride that and probably not die. And that's why the Halacon Cataracts are number 1. But there are so many wonderful, secret or difficult to get to places in Guild Wars 2, so I'm always left to wonder, what details did I miss? Maybe I'll be able to answer that next time.